All right, just packing up the UBCO 2x2 right now. It's the two-wheel drive electric utility bike. So we've got front and rear wheel drive on this little motorcycle here. So I've got the bike packed down with a hot tent right now, little titanium wood stove, sleeping bag, sleeping pad, some food, and a bunch of other essentials like that I'm gonna carry out on the bike. And we're gonna go camp overnight on this thing. It's winter here in Colorado, so it's supposed to get down to about 18 degrees tonight, and we're also expecting between 8 to 12 inches early tomorrow morning. So should be an interesting test for this bike and myself. Hopefully we don't get it too stuck, and we'll see how it goes. All right, loaded down. All right, and we're off. Not sure how much weight is on this thing right now, but it's pretty well loaded down. I wanted to get a little weight over the front end of this bike because it is two-wheel drive, and it's nice to not have all the weight in the rear. So got a big bundle of wood here actually. I had a bunch of hardwood at the house, and it's all pine up here, so I want some hardwood so it burns a little bit slower tonight. Yeah, a fair amount of kit on here. I can feel the extra weight for sure. All right, let's see how she does in the snow here. Well, we'll make it, but this is a bunch of really sun-baked snow, some wind drifts up here. We'll have to do a little bit of bushwhacking here. All right, a little bit of dry ground should help. So that's how we're gonna start this. Oh man. What to do? All right. I knew I brought this for a reason. Let's see if that does the trick. Come on, baby. Traction. Got it. All right. Yeah. Okay. So the way I wanted to go is that way, but knowing the way this snow is, I think I'm gonna go to higher ground, see if I can get up on the ridge, and then ride some dirt over there, because there is a fair amount of dirt here. So I'm gonna try to take advantage of that and get traction here. Much better. A little bit of bushwhacking here, but that's what the 2x2 is good at, so it definitely helps to have that front wheel drive in these loose situations. All right, so you might be wondering, doing all this bushwhacking, and I did say that it's supposed to snow 8 to 12 inches tonight, or tomorrow morning rather, so how am I gonna get out of here? Which is something that I've been thinking about instead of talking to you guys about this bike, but I know a different way out of here that's downhill, So I'm going to utilize that. All right, we're back on track. Okay, we made it to where I want to camp tonight, which is good. So I was planning on talking way more about this UBCO 2x2 on the ride out here. The bike did great. We're out here now, fully loaded down with a lot of weight on it, so kudos to the 2x2, but the sun is setting pretty quick, and I'm gonna need to get this tent set up fast, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do that right now. All right, got the exterior tent here set up. Gonna do the inner now. All right, success. Tent is up for the most part. Gonna go get some firewood here so we have something to burn before it gets dark. Oh, almost lost it. If you don't have rock straps, you should get some, because they're handy for stuff like this. Success. Got some firewood loaded up, and yeah, time to put this wood stove together so we can burn this wood and stay warm tonight. Pretty sweet. It's this titanium wood stove. Whole thing fits in there. That's an entire wood stove right there. Yeah, stovepipe and all. So let's quickly put this thing together. All right, wood stove is built. Beautiful. Full moon. Ow! There it is. Beautiful. Fire. Potatoes. Next item on the menu, ribeye steak. Yes, ma'am. Steak, potatoes. It's warm in here. It's cold out there. And it's not snowing yet, so. Gonna set up a bed and crash out for the night. See you guys in the morning. Let's get another fire going. Let's see what's going on outside. All right, it's getting kind of windy, so that storm's definitely blowing in now. I'm gonna make a quick coffee and some breakfast, tear this kit down, and get everything loaded on the bike so we can actually go enjoy the UBCO 2x2 in the snow. America runs on it. Yes, sir. Look at those clouds filling up that canyon right now. That is awesome. Storm's coming. Storm's here. All right, now for the moment that some of you have hopefully been waiting for. Let's ride this bike and talk about it a little bit. I'm gonna take a different way back that is gonna be more suitable, but not before going through this stuff. So this trail I'm on has gone through the freeze-thaw cycle a couple too many times, and it is a complete sheet of ice. So I'm gonna take my sweet time getting over this and get out on the county road, and we can talk about this bike a little bit. So yeah, the big point about this bike is it is a two-wheel drive electric utility bike. And two-wheel drive obviously means that it has a hub drive motor in the front and the rear of the bike. Oh geez. 1 kilowatt each on this model. And I have said in the past that I'm typically not a big fan of two-wheel drive bikes, but that's usually on the performance side of things. When it's a utility bike like this, I actually really fond of this bike for what it's capable of. All right, dirt road. Be a little easier to talk about this bike now. So what I really like about this bike is the fact that you can load a ton of gear on this thing and go out to spots kind of like how I did last night. It's kind of a little mule. You can put stuff on the front rack. You've got the pannier rack, so you can put stuff in those bags, and then there's also a rear rack that you can put stuff on, but there's mounting options everywhere, all over this bike, and it makes it a pretty useful tool if you're trying to haul some gear out to somewhere. So the other thing that I love about this thing is how quiet it is. It's got hub drive motors, which, you know, they have their positives and negatives, but one of their positives is the fact that it is just crazy quiet. There's no chain noise. It's obviously no motor noise. It's an electric bike, so it's quiet by nature, but this thing is just so quiet. So if you're trying to keep a low profile and get back to you know, wilderness spots, backcountry spots, and you want to be really quiet. This bike is really great for that. And so I'd say like my biggest gripe, or what I would change about the bike, is actually partially to do with that hub drive motor as well. It is a little, how can I say this? When you get it on a super steep incline under load, it loses power relatively quickly. So like a really steep grade is going to be a problem for this bike. And I'm talking like steep off the trail kind of steep stuff, not necessarily like any road. Like it'll make it up any road that you're on, but under load it can lose power on some steep grades. And then the other thing about the hub drive motor is the tendency to overheat. The thing I've got going for me right now is that it is super cold out. It's like probably 15 degrees, so not a huge concern about the motors overheating. But if you're riding in the summer, or if you're in a warm climate, you need to be aware of it, which is why they put a temp gauge for the hub drive here on the display. So I'm reading 93 degrees Fahrenheit for the motors right now, so you can keep an eye on it. So if I were to improve upon anything on this bike, or ask the engineers at UBCO to improve upon anything on this bike, it would be, one thing that I think would be cool would be a power split on the motors. It's because they're pulling the same amount of power. If you have the rear weighted down or no weight on the front, it's really easy to break the front tire loose because there isn't enough weight over the front. So you get a lot of tire spin up in the front, and that can kind of grab and put the bike in a weird position when you lose traction. So it'd be kind of cool to do a power split, you know, instead of doing 50-50, maybe doing like 70 in the rear and 30 up front. And then the other thing that I would like to see would be maybe a bigger motor in the rear, just so it's a little bit more rear wheel biased on the power, and help you get up some of these steeper grades where the 2x2 can sometimes struggle. But aside from that, knowing what this bike is and what I use it for, which is typically doing exactly what I'm doing with it right now, just hauling a big load of gear, it does it really well, and I really enjoy the bike for that. It's also a great bike for running around town if you're like wanting to run errands or commuting locally or something like that. It's just a low-key, easy to ride, mellow bike. Now I should point out that obviously I took it in some deep snow, and I need to give the 2x2 some kudos because it really does good in the snow, especially if it's fresh snow on hard pack, or if it is hard pack snow. It actually does really well. I don't have great tires on it right now, and that was some really soft, punchy snow. That was deep snow last night, and so the 2x2 definitely suffered a bit on that, but what bike wouldn't? All right, little pavement run here. Yeah, not much else to say about it. I did a kind of a review on it a couple of years ago, and if you want to learn more about it, check that out. You can remove the battery. It's got USB ports. They've done a bunch of updates to the bike, which I'll have a new one of those sometime soon. We can talk about that thing, but yeah. All in all, this thing gets the job done, and I love it for that. The UBCO 2x2. I'm gonna stop talking now because I can't film my lips, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope it inspires you to go out and go do some cool stuff, even if it is in the winter time, and hopefully do it on a bike. like the 2x2. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.